What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Frank Segura, and with me, as always, is Anthony Burnell. We're going to be going over the final Champions League results, and we're going to go over what is going on with Barcelona. Welcome to Seriously Butthurt Sports. All right, and we're back. How's it going, Anthony?
Hey, pretty good, Frank. How about you?
Pretty good. I could not handle all this Barcelona bullshit that's going on, but it could be worse, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's why I'm happy Real Madrid got knocked out early.
I don't know. So we'll get into the Barcelona drama a little bit later, but we're going to start the show off with the quarterfinal results of the Champions League. We're going to go over the semifinals, and then we're going to go over tomorrow's game at 3 p.m. It's going to be, spoiler alert, PSG versus Bayern Munich, if you haven't noticed already. But we're going to kind of lead you up to this point, and we're going to go over what our predictions are for the final. And let's start it off with you, Anthony. Let's start it off with this Atalanta versus Paris quarterfinal. I know we went over it the last podcast, but what are your thoughts? I mean, the game ended 2-1 Paris. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think, PSG, their league kind of ended relatively early compared to the rest of the world. So I think for them, it was a rusty game. I mean, they looked good. Neymar had a lot of chances, just couldn't connect. And I mean, that story kind of carried over to their next game. Neymar just hasn't really been able to find the back of the net. But I think the rust is, they're shaking off the rust. I mean, they played 3 games the past 2 weeks or so. So I think the rust is clearly off, which is why they're in the final. And I think they're going to be a tough team, for Bayern.
Yeah, and I think that's what everybody kind of oversaw a little bit. They kind of put PSG on the back burner just because of their performance and the lack of execution. And, I mean, still watching the replays and everything of the last couple games, Neymar is still missing some of these key goals over here, but it seems like he's making more than he's missing so far. But I agree. The rust is kind of coming off of the PSG over here. So let's just move on real quick right to our next semifinal result, which was Leipzig versus Atletico. It was final was 2-1 Leipzig.
Yeah, so I mean, this was a big shocker. I mean, to the football world. I mean, you definitely saw, Atletico is a big favorite heading into this match. Leipzig, a relatively new team. I believe they were formed in 2007. So it was their first quarterfinal appearance for them. So I mean, for them to beat a side like Atletico, who was the team to knock out Liverpool, who was again a heavily favored team. They looked like a strong power in England. Winning the league very early, high points. So like I said, Leipzig walked away 2-1, and it was like they kept on attacking Atletico, and Atletico had nothing to do but defend. And like I said, it was just a good game by Leipzig, but I think Atletico just disappointed everybody.
Yeah, I think it was more of a disappointment by Atletico. I think we both agree that Atletico should have walked out of this match as the winner. But it's an upset. Leipzig prevailed, and they moved on to the semis, and we'll give you the results of that next match in a little bit. But speaking of an upset, I don't want to go over to the Bayern Barca match yet. Let's go over to Lyon Man City. Lyon actually pulled up the upset by 3-0 over Man City. And what were your thoughts on that match?
Yeah, so I mean, Man City kind of put themselves in the grave. I mean, there were some key opportunities. It was actually 3-1, I believe, the score. It was 2-1, and I believe it was Raheem Sterling had pretty much a wide open net to tap the ball into, and completely hit the ball way over the net. And kind of once you miss an opportunity like that, morale for the team is relatively low because, it's like they had the opportunity to tie the game, late in the game, about 70th, 80th minute. And unfortunately, the ball didn't go in. Like I said, he skyrocketed it over the net. And you know what? Lyon just came back. Man City was coming out all attack to try to get the tying goal. Lyon got an easy third goal, and it became 3-1 final score.
Yeah, you are correct. It was 3-1. My apologies. I had a typo on my screen. It's a little hard to keep track of all these scores with my whole screen over here for those who are not watching, but I got a lot of numbers going on.
Too many goals to keep count of.
Oh, well, speaking of too many goals to count of, that's a perfect segue to this Barca Bayern game, which, I'm putting all over the Seriously Butthurt Sports Facebook page. For those who are not subscribed to that page, please do. I always put up previews to matches, the latest on MLB, hockey. You have the links to our podcast on that page, but I also give little headliners and just giving you an update on these big matches that are coming up. So that morning I was putting up, Barca Bayern, they're going to be playing the La Liga. This is not, some chump league that they're playing. And, they're going to pull up the upset. Everybody's counting Barca out. And boy, did I look like an idiot, huh? So the final score in this game was, wait for it, 8-2. I mean, just a total ass whooping by Bayern. So what were your thoughts on that game? Did you watch that game at all?
Oh, I watched it. I think I had to turn it off after halftime. I think it was already settled by half. I believe halftime score was 4-1 Bayern Munich. And I mean, you're right. Absolute ass whooping, absolute shit show by Barcelona. I mean, I think in 15 minutes in, not even, maybe even 8 minutes in, it was already 1-1, and Barcelona got a little bit lucky with their goal, with an own goal by David Alaba. So I mean, Barcelona, like I said, it depended on what side of Barcelona you got. A very hot and cold team. Unfortunately, they came into this cold, and with a team like Bayern Munich coming in, they're the hottest team in soccer right now. Like you can't come in cold against a side like them. I mean, Lewandowski, highest goal scorer right now in the Champions League. He's the best striker in the world right now. So can't come in cold against that. And like I said, Bayern definitely made them pay brutally.
Yeah, I think like you said, I think everybody's a fanboy now of Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
which kind of pisses me off a little bit.
Everybody's coming out of the shadows. It's been, I think their last hurrah was 2011. Besides that, it's been like play Real Madrid when Real Madrid was top of the football world and knocking them out in the quarters or semifinals.
I hate fanboys,
right?
And I hate Barcelona's performance on this. I mean, it was a total embarrassment for
Absolutely
the caliber team that Barcelona is. And it's kind of funny. So, I'm taking my dog to the vet that day. I'm listening to it on the radio. I'm trying to rush going inside the house. And I mean, every time I turn my back or I shut it off for 2 seconds, I look up at the score and they're ready to put up 2 goals. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I think I was texting you later that day as the match is going on. I'm just like, man, this is embarrassing. I mean, if it ended 4-1, that's embarrassing. This ended 8-2. That's I mean, it's complete trash. So, I mean, the only good thing that I guess you could take out of this game if you're a Barcelona fan is that this kind of forces Barcelona to rebuild and make the changes that it needs to do. However, they were talking about firing the coach before the game even started. So, I don't know what the hell they're doing. But we're going to get into the rebuilding of Barcelona, the changes that they made after this game. Just a total poor performance by La Liga teams on this Champions League, right? I mean, you would agree to that?
No, absolutely. I mean, the only positive is I don't know if you saw Sevilla versus Inter Milan in the what the heck is it called?
Europe.
Yeah, the Europa League. There you go. Sorry, brain
right.
fart. So in the Europa League, but Sevilla's been dominating that tournament for years. It's crazy. I think they've won 7 in the past 10 years. So it's kind of almost like a no shocker there. But to do it against a side like Inter Milan, Inter Milan came in heavy favorites. So Sevilla is the bright spot of the La Liga right now.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the semifinals. We're going to talk about the matches leading up to this final tomorrow at 3 o'clock, just reminding everybody again. We're going to start off with this Leipzig versus PSG. Final score was 3-0 PSG.
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of see the PSG that, everyone's come to talk about, like, oh, look at this. They have all these expensive players, they brought Neymar over for a record deal. They signed Mbappe from Monaco for, again, like a pretty penny. So it's a very expensive side. So here you see 3-0, you can kind of see, okay, they recouped from the Atalanta win where they barely won. It took 2 late-minute goals in the Atalanta game. Here they go. I mean, they come in and they start scoring early. I believe the 13th minute, Marquinhos puts in a goal. So I mean,
Yep.
you see a completely different side of PSG in this game, and you can see why they made it to the final.
Yeah. So the goal scorers was Marquinhos at 13 minutes, Di Maria at 42 minutes, and Velasco at 56 minutes. So just to round out this game, PSG had 58% possession of this game and 646 passes compared to the 458 by Leipzig. Um, Not a total dominating game by PSG. However, if you look at the score, I mean, 3-0, it's pretty dominating to me. But I mean, as far as possession, yeah, passes. I mean, obviously, when a team has more possession, more passes than you, the likelihood of them winning that game is going to be a lot. But like you said, I mean, PSG has a lot of good players, a lot of paid players on this team, and it shows in this score. I mean, everybody, I don't think expected Leipzig to be in this position in the semifinals, but they're there for a reason, I guess. And PSG made it known that they deserve to be in this final against Bayern. And it's you could start to see that PSG is starting to click together. Like you said before, the rust is coming off the more that they play, and I think they have increased their percent chances of winning this final the way that they're playing so far.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's just the wheel. Like I said, the wheels are turning. The rust is flying off. Tough team to beat. Definitely going to be a tough team to beat. And I can't wait to get into it and talk about the comparisons with Bayern Munich in a little bit. But
Yep.
like I said, it's definitely going to be a final to watch.
Yeah. So let's talk about this next semifinal match with Bayern and Lyon. The same thing. Final score was 3-0. Bayern. What was your takeaway on this game here, Amp?
Yes, I mean, Bayern Munich is Bayern Munich. They came in again, another early goal in this game. Seems to be the pattern set so far in the semifinals over here. Where early goal kind of takes the advantage nice and early, and then they just sit back and Bayern Munich doesn't sit back and defend their lead. They go out and they want to score as many goals as they possibly can. So I mean, Garvey's coming in, and guys also, you pair him with Lewandowski. They're two hot combos. I mean, Lewandowski's maybe number one in goals, and I think Narby's number 4 or 3. He's right up there, right behind him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very hot team, and like I said, they came in hot and they've stayed hot. I think they've won 40 of their last 40 games they've won. So I mean, they're
Yeah.
just a extremely hot team, and they haven't slowed down.
Yeah, so speaking of Narby and Lewandowski, those are your two goal scorers for this game. Narby had 2 goals, 18 minutes in and 33 minutes in. And then Lewandowski had a late goal at 88 minutes into this game, giving you that 3-0 win, Bayern. Just looking at the possession here, Bayern had 66 possession percent, and they had 647 passes versus the 328 by Lyon. So, I mean, this one you can kind of say that, yeah, looking at the stats and everything, Bayern did dominate this game, which I think everybody did. Leipzig and Lyon, I don't think anybody had
High
envisioned them
hopes.
being in this semifinal. Those are kind of two Cinderella stories that the two topper, or higher rated teams came out on top in this game. So no Cinderella story here.
Yeah, no, not in the Champions League. Very hard.
Yep, yep, yep. So I have to say something, because now we're gonna get into this finals match. But I have to say something with all these like announcers and analysts and stuff like that. They're saying, oh, the way that PSG is playing, the way that Bayern has kind of underperformed in the last 2 games. Underperformed. I don't know what the hell they're talking about underperformed. Like, oh,
Yeah,
now they look beatable. Oh, they just beat their last team 3-0. They took care of everybody, manhandled everybody. I mean, why? Because they didn't score 8 goals against the last 2 teams. Come on. I mean, they have been dominant since the very beginning of this championship. What are your thoughts on that?
no, absolutely. I mean, Bayern has definitely come in. They definitely dominated. I mean, I've seen reports, I've heard reports of everybody saying like, you watch these games and you see a weakness in Bayern Munich, which I mean, I guess you could, but I mean, PSG has that same weakness, and I mean, I'll get into this in a little bit. I mean, but you're right. They're talking about this weakness, and it's like, why? Because they beat Barcelona 8-2, and then they come in and they only beat Lyon 3-0. I mean, it's soccer. You're not going to come out and score 9 goals every time. I mean, that's almost ridiculous. If a
Yeah,
team is coming out and scoring 9 goals every time, then the Champions League trophy should just already be in their hand. I mean, it's
yeah,
just but yeah, every team has a weakness. I mean, it's impossible to come here and say, this team is 100% bulletproof and they should have an easy ride to the final and win it. Like, nothing is set in stone, especially in soccer. I mean, mistakes happen and the worst team comes out as top. I mean, you've seen it. I mean, Leipzig and Lyon, they weren't considered the better team and they somehow come on top and make it to
yeah,
the semifinals. So, I mean, soccer's anybody's game. And it's like, sure, there might be a weakness in Bayern Munich, but at the same time, there's a weakness in PSG. So it's not like a set in stone. Like, do you see the trophy with the name on it already? I don't think so. It's because it's
yeah,
90 minutes of beautiful sport, and like I said, it's anybody's game.
yeah, absolutely. So, speaking of anybody's game, who do you think is going to win this final? Obviously it's PSG Bayern.
I mean, it's gonna be a close game, and it's definitely gonna be a high scoring game. I mean, these two teams, I mean, their attacking is on point. I mean, there's no two hotter teams in soccer right now as far as scoring, and like I said, I mean, it all depends on who's playing. I mean, if Keylor Navas plays in net for PSG, I mean, maybe they have a slight edge in goal. I mean, not knocking Manuel Neuer, but I mean, he's up there in age. He's 34 years old. I mean, he had a rough season last year with injuries and whatever. I mean, he still has his flashes of his prime days, but he's not the same as he used to be. So I mean, that's a huge thing to keep an eye on if Keylor Navas plays or not. I mean, he's considered doubtful right now, but there's also reports saying he's fully healthy. So I mean, you're hearing these two stories about him, and you just don't know,
I think
if
they
he's
want to
healthy.
keep Bayern on their toes. They don't want them to know their game plan.
No, absolutely. Like, I mean, I completely understand that point. So, like I said, that's going to become a huge difference maker whether they have their starting goalkeeper in there or not.
Yeah,
And like I said, if they don't, the edge goes to Bayern, and if they do, I mean, it depends. If he's fully healthy, then the edge might go to PSG.
yeah, yeah. So let's go over a little stats of previous matchups between Bayern and PSG. Some little fun facts. Maybe it'll change your decision making for this prediction over here. So Bayern and PSG have met 8 times in the previous matches, and PSG has won 5 out of those 8. Um, does that mean anything? Not necessarily.
I mean, not really, because 8 matches is not that many, and I
No,
mean, you think about
and
the
this is not the same
lifespan.
team in those 8
Yeah,
matches.
no, absolutely. I mean, these 8 matches could have taken place throughout a time span of 20 years. You know what I mean? So I mean, to give an advantage, I mean, to me, it doesn't mean much. I mean, 5 out of 8. I mean, you're what, 1/500. Like, to me, that doesn't really it doesn't really
Yeah.
mean much.
And
And
plus, it's 5. So, I mean,
yeah, I
you're
mean,
talking about a difference of one game being
yeah, one
50%.
game.
And like I
So I
said,
mean,
these are not the same teams and they're not playing 8 times with the same team. So,
yeah, no,
to me,
absolutely.
it
Like, I
doesn't
mean,
mean anything.
it's not like a basketball season or a baseball season where maybe you play the same team, a couple times. You meet them in the playoffs, you play them again. Okay, maybe you see them 8 times, and maybe that will mean a difference because you know what I mean. But the span of soccer, when you say a team play each other 8 times, it could be 8 times throughout 20 years or something. So I
Exactly.
mean,
Exactly.
that's
So,
that. I mean, I'll throw it right out the window. I mean, to me personally, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
no, no, I just wanted to put that in there.
Yeah,
Maybe someone thinks it's important, but
yeah,
I
maybe.
think
I mean, like I said, if you're talking
between
about
the both of us,
rivalries,
I don't
like
think so.
something like Bayern, I mean, Barcelona versus Real, where they play each other like 700 times throughout history. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe that matters. But I mean, like I said, that 700 games is a different team every time. So
exactly. That's pre-COVID also.
yeah, pre-COVID.
So this next stat I got here is this is the first time PSG has ever reached the Champions League final.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a stat that could be worrisome for some people. The nerves, of playing
But
your first
PSG
ever
has
final.
won championships in the past, so they're not
Yeah,
new
I
to a
mean, but I said,
championship
a
match.
lot of people like to consider, the League One of France to be a farmers' league where there's not much competition. Everyone expects PSG to win every title there is. So I mean, this is PSG's first opportunity to take away a title that means something to the rest of the soccer world. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, we won the League One, we won this cup, we won that. This is the Champions League, and it's like everybody's watching. The world is watching this game. So I think there might be a little bit of pressure on PSG considering everybody's kind of ruling them out. Like, hey, they don't really see a lot of competition in their league. They're expected to walk away with it and take it away every year. So I said, I mean, it's something, you know what I mean? The nerves might be there, maybe the first 15 minutes a little jittery, and then they start settling in, and then we get some like really good soccer going on.
Yeah. So in comparison to PSG, this is Bayern's 11th time in the final.
Yeah, I mean, Bayern. You think of Bayern, you think of a lot of success. You mean they've been to the final 11 times. I believe they've won 5 out of those 11. Which their last one coming, I believe, in 2012, 2013 season against Borussia Dortmund. And like I said, it's just like I said, it's just unfortunate for Bayern Munich. They come across the path of Real Madrid almost every time, it seems like, in the drawing. So it's like you're getting knocked out by a team that has ended up winning the Champions League that year. So it's like past what I mean, minus last year, but the past 3 years after that, it's been Real Madrid winning this tournament. So and Bayern Munich just happens to be in their path, or they end up being in the path of another
Yeah.
really good team. And it's just unfortunately, they have a tough road to the final. And I mean, this year they still had a tough road to the final where they had to play Barcelona, and unfortunately,
Didn't make it look tough.
they didn't make it look tough. But I mean, you would think Barcelona would be a tough opponent,
Yeah.
and I mean, they cruised right through.
Yeah. Yeah. I think and speaking of cruising right through, Bayern has scored, which is kind of amazing to me, 42 goals in the last 10 games. I mean,
Yeah,
that is crazy.
yeah. I mean, you talk about like firepower. Like I said, it's two teams of firepower, but Bayern Munich is just on a rampage. I mean,
Yeah, they're on a different level here.
you're talking about like 4 goals a game almost. I mean, it's a little more. I mean, but it's just insane to think about. You know what I mean? To come in and say, hey, in a game of soccer, where maybe you get like a 0-0 tie a lot or a 1-1 tie, you're talking about 4 goals a game. Like
Yeah.
that's a crazy number to throw out there.
Yeah. So, speaking of the different leagues, one's a French league, one's a German league. Some people are looking at this match as like, as almost like a World Cup match, a France versus Germany final in the World Cup. What do you think about that?
I mean, you kind of see these reports like PSG, it being their first final, you can definitely see the fans like are super ecstatic about this. Like they're like, we're in the final. This is great. I mean, there was reports saying, hey, if you're in France at the time, like please don't wear a PSG jersey out in public. Like they're literally banning PSG jerseys out in public, like to make sure there's no gatherings or crowds. So I mean, you look at this. I mean, maybe from the PSG's perspective, they're definitely like you can see the fan base is definitely going crazy. I mean, you're seeing them partying it up. I
Hmm.
mean, them having just coming off a World Cup victory, and now here's PSG in their first ever Champions League. Representing again France. So I mean, for them, France is just feeling like an all-time high, and I'm sure they're coming in like with such momentum and power behind them. Like, hey, here we are. We're doing this again. We're going to take home another trophy for the country of France. But like I said, then you have Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich, I feel like they're more calm about this,
Yeah.
having being that they've already made 11 appearances in this tournament in the finals.
They act like they've done this before,
Yeah, like
right?
they're calm, they're composed, like, hey,
Yep.
we've been here before. Like for us, this is, nothing new. So I mean, I guess it just depends on the perspective you look at it. Again, it's two different countries, they're
Yeah.
top teams going at it. I mean, it could be looked up as a World Cup to some people. I mean, but to me
Yeah.
personally, I think France is looking at it more of a major, trophy as compared to Bayern. I mean,
Yeah.
Bayern's composed. We've been here before. Nothing new.
Yeah. I mean, this is another stupid comment I think I think there's another stupid comment by these commentators that I keep on watching on TV. Oh, this is a France versus Germany. No, this is almost like saying, well, this is, let's say if Barcelona ended up in the final. Well, this is Spain. No,
Yeah.
their main attacker is Argentinian.
Yeah,
This is not.
Argentinian, Suarez is Uruguayan, Griezmann is French. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
if you're
And then
talking
here,
if you're talking
PSG, Neymar is
Barcelona,
Brazilian.
yeah. I mean, if you're talking Barcelona like 5 years ago, where you had Villa, Pedro, Xavi, Iniesta,
Yeah, all
Busquets, like
Spanish-born
you
players.
had Spanish players. Like this is these leagues become more domesticated. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the only thing France versus Germany is okay. Maybe this is the French league versus the German league.
yeah,
Maybe in that aspect, but I think it's just a stupid comment by these commentators. I
no,
mean, I don't
absolutely. I mean,
understand where they get these takes. I think they just like to hear themselves talk.
I think they just want to throw the name, the World Cup out there because everybody knows the World Cup. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But like I said, this is nowhere near the World Cup. This tournament happens every year, where the World Cup takes place every 4 years. There's no comparison.
yeah,
I mean, 4 years. Imagine this: you're throwing a team together. I mean, sure, you play friendlies every once in a while, but you're playing more for club than you are for country. So to compare this to the World Cup, you're right. It's stupid. It makes no sense to even
yeah.
draw that comparison.
That's why you got to come here on Seriously Butthurt Sports Podcast and watch our YouTube video because we tell it how it is. All these other
Exactly.
people don't know what the hell they're talking about.
We don't say shit for ratings.
Even though I fuck up on the score once in a while, but
Yeah, but it's all right because it's
uh,
real shit. It's
yeah. We do it on the fly here. I don't got time to go,
we don't
fiddle around
edit
with
and
all this
freaking
crap.
talk. It's just right off the brain.
Yep. All right, so let's finish up this Champions League. Who do you think wins this match? What do you think the final score is?
I mean, like I said before, I said it was going to be a high-scoring game. I think there's a slight edge to PSG because of this. I mean, don't get me wrong. Okay, so defensively, Bayern Munich is very solid, but their defenders also like to attack. Alphonso Davies likes to go up and attack. Bernat likes to go up and attack. Like, Bernat is not a true defender. You know what I mean? So he kind of just adapted to that position. So he likes to go up and attack. I mean, last game you saw he scored as a defender in like the 56th minute against Leipzig. Oh, sorry, that's PSG. Bernat is PSG. But like you have two sides that defenders like to attack. So I mean, I think PSG with their speed, with Neymar and Mbappe, can get behind them. You know what I mean? When the defense gets caught too high for Bayern Munich, I think
Mhm.
that's the weakness that most reporters talk about. And I think PSG can take advantage of that slightly. Not much. I think, Bayern Munich's going to learn, like, hey, our defenders are going up. PSG's coming and attacking. But like I said, it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be like a 3-2 game. Like I said, it's going to be, Bayern Munich 42 goals. You know, I mean, there's going to be goals. And like I said, two teams that are going to go head-to-head clashing. I think we're going to forget about defense in this game. I think it's just going to be straight offense and an offensive display. It's going to be a fun final to watch. But
Yeah.
like I said, I think my advantage goes to PSG with the speed, up top between Mbappe and Neymar. And I think they win 3-2.
Okay. I'm gonna go against the grain here with you, and I'm gonna go Bayern is gonna win this one, and I'm gonna say Bayern is gonna win 3-2. I think the firepower of Bayern with Lewandowski, they have breezed to this position for a reason. They didn't get here out of pure luck. They have dominated every step of the way. They don't look like they have any rust on them. PSG is just trying to shake off all their rust, even though I think they're at that point where all the rust is off of them now.
Yeah.
Um, but that being said, I do still believe that this is anyone's game. I mean, look at my final score. I think it's going to be a 3-2 game. It can easily be 3-2 PSG. Also,
No,
it's just
absolutely.
that I think the firepower of Bayern, their momentum getting up to this game. I don't see them losing this game. I do see them being 3-2, but for that simple fact, I think that's why they're going to come out on top. And watching these last couple games with Neymar, yes, he's starting to click everything together, but there's just these simple
Finishes.
goals and
Yeah.
he's just not finishing what he should be finishing. So if he can do that this game, different story.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just don't see that changing from last week to this week. I think it's too short of a time span, especially with the firepower of Bayern and putting that pressure on them.
Yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
they're going to be trying to make an equalizer or try to pull ahead. But I still think there's still a little rust, and Bayern can definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's two very very skilled teams. I mean, a lot of injuries, surprisingly. I mean, like I said, you have Jerome Boateng for Bayern Munich, who's a defender, who he left before half of their semifinal match against Lyon, and he's considered doubtful. So I mean, it's just like I said, there's a lot of injuries, and it depends on which team can take advantage of that. I mean, losing a defender, losing a goalkeeper, obviously these are key positions, and you don't want to lose a defender when the team is scoring, 42 goals. You don't want to lose a goalie when the team is scoring 42 goals. So
Yep.
for PSG, you're losing Keylor Navas against a team that's scoring red hot, 4 goals a game. You don't want that. And the other
Yep.
side, you have a team that with Neymar who can dribble through and Mbappe who has the pace to get behind the defense. You don't want to lose your top center back in that position as well.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
mean, and it's a tough bet. It's definitely a tough bet to make. Like I said, these are two very good teams. It's going to be a high scoring game, and like I said, it's just going to come down. It's going to come down to one goal, in my opinion, and it's whether Lewandowski shows his form and shows that he's the best striker in the world right now, or Neymar shakes off the rust and finally puts one in the back of the net. I mean, those are going to be the different makers in my eyes.
All right. So that wraps up the Champions League, and let's finish off this podcast with what the hell is going on with Barca?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the opposite of Bayern and PSG.
Yeah,
We're-
a team who does not have their shit together,
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. I mean, you look at this team, and I mean, all you've seen in the headlines is a lot of it looks like a novella. Like it looks like the
Hmm.
Spanish TV had nothing else to do but talk about Barcelona and their novella. Like,
Yep.
because I
So
mean, just
those of you who don't know, Koeman is now the head coach of Barcelona. Koeman was the former Netherlands World Cup coach, and I think he's gonna definitely shake things up. What do you think?
yeah, no, like absolutely. I mean, you come in and with a new head coach, obviously a lot changes. I know people like to say, "Oh, but the players are the same." There's not much changing. Absolutely, when a new head coach comes in, there's new tactics to be brought up, different styles of play, and he could definitely make a difference in this team. And like, hopefully, he can get their acts together and find a gel that puts this team together, and the chemistry is improved. Because I mean,
Yep.
it just looks like they just don't look well. They
Hmm.
look like
I, I mean, I mean, it seems like he wants to do a total rebuild. He's talking about Jordi Alba out. He's talking about Suarez out. He's talking about Busquets out. Which before this podcast, you and I were talking about. Alba's got a contract until 2024, which is I don't know why the hell he would want him out.
yeah,
Suarez, I can see, but Suarez has a good chemistry with Messi. Busquets has got a contract at 2023. I don't care if they get rid of him. So the biggest player that may be out, and this is in headlines all over, is that Messi has requested out of Barcelona. What do you think Barcelona does with Messi here?
you see, to me, Messi when it comes to losing important games, Messi becomes like a bit of a crybaby. I don't know if you remember in the Supercopa, whatever the Latin American Euro. You saw Messi lose to Chile, and Messi stepped up and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm retiring from Argentina. I don't want to play international soccer anymore."
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, the next Argentinian game, Messi comes out of retirement and plays.
Yep.
So to me, I think this is just Messi speaking out, saying like, "I'm really disappointed in Barcelona." Does he actually leave? I don't think so. This is his club. I mean, he's been here.
And Koopman said that he wants to build his team around Messi.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at Messi, and it's like this is the only club he's known. Barcelona, brought him in as a little kid. Ronaldinho groomed and made him that much better.
Yeah. I mean, Barcelona's got the money. They can put players around him. They can turn things around very quick. Where
Yeah,
else is he going to go that's going to have success like Barca?
yeah. I mean, there's talks of him going to the Italian league to match up with Ronaldo again. I think those days are done. I
Yeah.
think
Time to move on.
yeah, I think Barcelona's. I mean, they keep Messi. I think Messi, doesn't retire with Barcelona. Yeah, he's gonna make one of those moves at the end of his career where he either goes to the MLS or goes and plays in China or something like that.
Hmm.
So I don't see him like, ending everything in Barcelona, never playing soccer again. I see him kind of, whether he goes to an Argentinian club and plays, whether he goes to the MLS and plays, definitely one of those if he does leave. And I'm not saying he's not going to leave this season. There's no way.
No.
I don't think Koeman and I don't think the president of Barcelona lets Messi walk away.
Mm.
You kind of look at the impact. It's similar to Ronaldo leaving Real Madrid. And you saw how poorly Real Madrid played the following year after losing Ronaldo. So
Yep.
I think Barcelona looks at that and they said, look, we can't repeat the same mistake Real Madrid made, clearly.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think it's just all talk. I think it's, a lot of disappointment following that big loss to Bayern Munich. I mean, it was embarrassing. It was probably the worst loss Barcelona faced in modern history.
Yep.
I mean, I take that 8-2 loss worse than losing to Real Madrid and losing the title. Like, I mean, that's an embarrassing loss. That's a one game,
Yeah. I think they let the dust settle and,
absolutely.
let heads cool down here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you brought it up. I mean, speaking of Koeman and the Barca's president, so Barcelona's president candidate said that he would fire Koeman if he would be able to put Xavi as the head coach. I mean, what a stupid comment.
Yeah,
just to shut the hell up. Koeman is your coach, so that then now you're trying to make everybody second guess. Like, oh well, maybe Koeman is not the best coach that we can put for Barcelona at this time.
Yeah, I mean, this seems to be the story for Barcelona. It's just they like to stir the pot. You know what I mean? You just brought this new head coach in, and you already want to tell him like, hey, if this guy steps up and wants to be our coach, you're out the door. I mean, if I'm Koeman, I might even resign right now and say, you know what, that's the way you feel about me. Fuck you guys. I
don't want to deal with this bullshit,
yeah.
right?
I mean, this guy comes in and he comes into drama right away. I mean, this guy's already adapting a terrible situation where Messi wants to be out, the president wants to sell all his players, and it's going to become a rebuild. I mean, no coach wants to deal with that headache of having to rebuild a brand new team. So, I mean, it's almost ridiculous for the president to come out and say like, hey, if Xavi steps up and wants to be the coach, we're firing you.
This is not the president. It's the president candidate. I want to make that very clear. But still, I mean, stupid comment from the – he's still part of the organization. I mean, stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it's just dumb. And I get it. Would you want to bring Xavi in? Sure, absolutely. He knows the players. It's not like he's that far off removed from the team. But, I mean, it might bring a little bit of chemistry, but – it's a boneheaded move to make to say like, hey, we're gonna
give Koeman a shot. If you don't like how he's working the team, then you make a comment like that. But it's way too soon. They haven't even played a game with this guy. It's just a dumb comment. So
it's ridiculous.
I think the moral of this whole podcast here is people need to stop making stupid-ass comments.
No, exactly. And like I said, these stupid-ass comments all have an impact. And like I said, you have a team like Barcelona whose chemistry is already shaky to begin with. Now you throw in this coach and say he's not as qualified as Xavi, so if Xavi wants to come here, you're out. Like, you just – you know what I mean? It's like stirring the whole pot. It's almost like the remember the Spain World Cup drama in Russia where what was his name? Lupin's. He had a weird last name.
Yeah.
But he was the coach at Real Madrid. And he was already the coach of Spain, and then he went and took the position of Real Madrid without talking to anybody. And then now there's all this drama. And guess what?
Lopetegui? Are you talking about?
Yeah, Lopetegui. Yeah.
Yeah,
like dumb drama like that. And look what it did to Spain. Spain was not the same. You know what I mean? Every decision has an impact. And like I said, it's just dumb to make these decisions and say these things out loud. You know what I mean? It's one thing to think it to yourself and say, hey, if our legend Xavi wants to come and coach Barcelona, yeah, we give him a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to say that to the press and say it out loud where everyone can hear you, and then it just starts all this shit between the team. And like I said, with a team that already has so much drama going on, it just adds shit to the pile.
Yep. So I think that wraps it up for all the soccer talk here. I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that we are now on a new schedule for our baseball podcast. I believe episode 5 came out a couple days ago. Stay tuned for next week. We record on Tuesday nights now, and we release it on Wednesday. I am sure that we are going to talk about the Mets quarantine and the COVID outbreak in the Mets, the disaster that happened, the Yankees in Tampa Bay, that poor performance by the Yankees. So, we're all going to be, definitely Nick and I are going to be on that podcast. But, every week we try to put somebody new on that team. Last week we had my brother Joseph coming to the chat. So stay tuned. There's always going to be new people on that. If you haven't checked us out, please check out our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter. We try to be on all the podcast stations as we can. And that's kind of all I have to say about that. Any last words here, Ant?
No, I mean, I think we hit everything on the nail. Like I said, PSG Bayern Munich is going to be a great game. Barcelona continues to be a shit show.
Yep.
And like I said, I can't wait to hear about baseball and the Yankees and all their injuries and the Mets with COVID. I mean, look forward to it.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. So we will be in touch with you after this final, and stay tuned. Thank you for joining. Take care.